When Igor Stravinsky wrote his ballet, The Flight of Spring,
Alright, Fantasia, released in 1940. This is Walt Disney's third theatrically released animated film. And before we start, just a little disclaimer, and I don't plan on saying this at the beginning of every video, but I know that this movie is special to a lot of people, and I know that a lot of people are nostalgic for this, or they grew up with it and they have a soft spot in their heart for it. But just remember, these reviews are always my personal opinion, obviously. So however you feel about this movie, I mean, it's great, your opinion is just as valid as mine. And so yeah, let's get into it. The first thing you're gonna notice when you boot up this movie is that it's over 2 hours long. And this is actually the first theatrically released animated film to be over 2 hours long. And that is not inherently a bad thing, you know, as long as the movie does its best to make value of the time that it has. Does this movie succeed at that? You're just gonna have to wait and find out. I actually did see this movie for the first time a few years back, again when I was trying to get through all of Walt Disney Animation Studios' entire catalog. And I remember how I felt about this movie, but I just wanted to, you know, I wanted to go in with an open mind and see how I felt about it now. And I'm just gonna straight up say it, I feel the exact same way now that I did a few years ago, and this movie is really, really boring. And I feel bad saying that because, you know, it's a classic and all, and it was really revolutionary at the time, but I just, again, it's 2026 now, it doesn't hold up well. This is not the sort of movie that I would just want to put on and watch in my spare time. It's just, whatever, I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just get into what happens first. So basically Fantasia consists of a bunch of animated shorts that are a visual representation of classical music that's playing in the background. Some of these shorts are more narration heavy, some of these shorts are a bit more abstract, some of them are a mix of both, whatever. There's a decent variety in here. So I'm just gonna kind of go through all the segments from beginning to end, one at a time, and tell you what I thought about them. So the movie actually opens on a live action segment, which there are quite a few of throughout the film. We see the orchestra kind of setting up, and we pan in on this guy that kind of looks like J.K. Simmons in the Farmers Insurance commercials, but that's besides the point. And this guy's one job in this movie is just to explain what happens in every single short right before we watch it.
With farmers, you can get quality and savings.
So going into every animated short, we already know exactly what we're gonna see. There's no surprise, there's no anything. It's just, alright, I gotta calm down. It's just the beginning of the movie. We've hardly even begun. Let's move on to the first short. So this first short is probably the most abstract of all of them. And listen, I'm a pretty narrative heavy guy. Like when I watch animated films, I watch it, yes, for the animation, but also for the story that it's trying to tell. This abstract stuff, some people might find it more appealing than I do, but it's just not my cup of tea. So this first short is just kind of like flashing and blinking colors just synced up with the song that they're playing. And this was the point in the movie where I was just like, yeah, I understand why I didn't like it that much. And again, it's kind of cool, it's just not my cup of tea. This one is certainly the most nothing burger short of the whole film, but listen, it's the first one, not much to say about it, get it out of the way, let's move on. The second one has the Nutcracker song playing in the background, and it's a bit more interesting. We follow these fairies, and they represent the four seasons in a way. One of them touches things and it kind of turns wet, representing spring. One of them touches things and it turns really cold, to ice, representing winter. But this is kind of broken up with this other short scene where mushrooms are dancing around. We see a bunch of fish swimming around to the music underwater. And again, I wish my description is more interesting. It's just there's nothing really much happening here of substance. And these shorts, they're just so elongated and drawn out and so much longer than they need to be. And that's really all I have to say about that. Thankfully, with the next short, things pick up a little bit. And I mean, this is the Fantasia short. It's a Sorcerer's Apprentice. Again, everyone knows this one. It's the one with Mickey as a wizard. You know, when you go into Universal Studios at Disney World in Florida, they got the iconic Fantasia hat. It's the first thing you see when you walk in. And this is also probably the most narrative-based short, which I definitely appreciate. And I mean, it's great. Definitely the highlight of the movie for me. And this is actually the first time that Mickey Mouse is shown in an animated film. It's really funny because apparently Walt Walt Disney included Mickey in this short because he wanted to boost Mickey's popularity, because at this time, it was actually Goofy and Donald that were the fan favorites, and so he put Mickey in here, and I mean, it obviously worked. Considering Mickey is the face of Disney now. I mean, this is where it all started, so. I mean, everyone's familiar with this short. You know, Mickey plays around with a bunch of the wizard's magic that he's not supposed to, and he uses it to turn a broomstick to life, and teaches it to do his job for him, which, to be honest, I don't exactly know what that is. He's just kind of scooping up water with buckets from one fountain and like transporting it to another fountain. I don't know what sort of job that is, but he teaches the broomstick to do it, and he falls asleep as any responsible boss would. But when he wakes up, he sees that the broomstick is still pouring water into the fountain, and the entire room that he's in is beginning to flood. So he actually chops the broomstick up with an axe in a pretty gruesome way, but this backfires as all of the wood shards from the broomstick turn into other broomsticks, and now they're all doing the job, and the room is filling up with water exponentially faster, and Mickey is just screwed, to put it lightly. Thankfully, the wizard comes back from whatever the heck he was doing, and puts a stop to all this chaos, and just kind of stares at Mickey very disapprovingly. And I mean, if someone looked at me like this, like, I don't even care if I did anything wrong or not. I would just feel terrible. Like, this is the face of disappointment right here. So Mickey walks away, the short ends, and there's actually a pretty cool transition where we see a silhouette of Mickey going up to the conductor. They have a quick little chat, and then Mickey just kind of runs off. So yeah, that fusion between live action and animation, that was pretty cool. And then while we're introducing the next short, I'm not sure why they did this, but there's just like an instrument malfunction where one of the instruments just kind of like collapses, and we kind of gotta awkwardly watch as they put it back up again. Like, I assume they put this in for laughs. I mean, it was kind of funny just because of how like awkward it was. Like, there's absolutely no reason for this to be in the film, but they just kind of threw it in there anyways. So the next short, oh my gosh. This one, again, I feel bad crapping on these so much because the ideas are creative. It's never been done before. It's just way too long. Like, this one feels like an entire film in itself. Here we watch through the entire process of the creation of life. So first we start by seeing Earth before there was life. Yeah, I mean, there's just kind of lava and volcanoes, you know, kind of like the World 8 of every Super Mario game. But after that, we see the first single-celled organisms. We see them kind of develop, become more complex. But then they do like a ridiculous time skip where we go from fish like straight to dinosaurs. Unfortunately, this does not save the short. Again, it's still way too long, but hey, at least it's not even longer. And for minutes, we just watch these dinosaurs walking around, eating food, looking at each other. It's just like, there are so many scenes in this segment where it like fades to black and you think it's over, but then it just keeps going. And the worst part about all of it is you know exactly what you're going to see, so you're just waiting for it to happen. Before the short, the guy specifically said, we're going to see dinosaurs, and we're going to see them go extinct because they run out of food and water, and there's a dust bowl. Like, obviously, the dinosaurs are going to die. Like, spoiler alert, guys, they're not around anymore. Like, those frozen dino nuggets you buy at the store, they're not made of dinosaur meat. That's chicken. I mean, to be fair, chickens are actually descendants of dinosaurs, but you know what I mean. Mr. J. Jonah Jameson's descriptions here are not necessary.
You serious?
Any tidbit of surprise? Like, there are many theories circulating about how the dinosaurs went extinct. We couldn't even be surprised by that. We went into it knowing exactly what we were going to see, exactly how they were going to die, and how the short was going to end. And it's like, it's really depressing. We just kind of see them walking through a desert, completely dehydrated, they all collapse, and then this just, like, it's sad. Like, I don't want to see this. At least the asteroid would have been quick and painless. Like, this is just upsetting. After this, we just kind of get a glimpse of the beginning of the Ice Age, as snow and ice just begins to cover the whole Earth, and then this short is over. And I was already pretty tired going into this movie. Like, I had a really long day beforehand. It was already like 10 p.m. So I had to stop watching it in the middle of the short because I couldn't do it. It was not interesting enough to keep me awake. But the best part of all that was I just kind of hit the restart button on the movie, and I was snoozing before I even knew it. So it was useful for that, at least. So the next night, when I finally returned to the movie, I got to the end of that short, and then there was a 15-minute intermission. And it wasn't actually a full 15 15 minutes. But back in the day, when they played longer movies like this in theaters, there were actually intermissions in the middle of the movie. So they created an actual block for the intermission here. And I mean, you can imagine how confused I was at first when I just kind of sat there and watched the conductor and everyone awkwardly walk away from their instruments and the curtains close until I realized this and knew what was actually happening. So the screen kind of fades to black, then it opens up again, and yes, you have to also watch everyone just kind of gingerly waddle back to their instruments and getting everything set back up again, like they already did at the beginning of the movie, but that's okay. And before the descriptor guy makes his way back, the orchestra actually has like a little jam session, which isn't too long and it's pretty charming, so that was kind of funny. But then of course, J.K. Simmons has to come back and ruin all the fun, so. The next short is based on mythology, and it takes place in Mount Olympus. It starts off with this Pegasus scene that's pretty unremarkable. And then after that, there's kind of like this very suggestive scene with centaurs, which are half human, half horse, that... Listen, I'm trying to keep my videos PG-13 at the max. I'm just gonna say they're trying to attract each other, and so we see them doing that, just kind of all matching up with each other and moving on. And then there's a scene where like this really sloppy, very large, bulging man comes out and he's like tripping over. Apparently he's a god of wine, so he's drunk, obviously, and he's just kind of like tripping over himself. This is where everything just kind of like descends into insanity. Like this guy is just kind of like being yanked around like a rag doll. This like donkey appears out of nowhere. Like I have no idea what's going on. I was so confused while watching this scene. All right, I gotta be a little quicker. This video is gonna be as long as the movie. Then there's a scene with Zeus where he's throwing lightning bolts at everyone. Then there's a scene with the rainbow that appears in the sky after Zeus's thunderstorm. Then everyone comes together and they're all happy and it's I'm not and moving on. The next short is a ballet, and this is where I got really frustrated. Like this one broke me because I spent like 30 minutes, what felt like 30 minutes at least. You spend all this time waiting through these shorts on bated breath for them to end, just for the next one to begin and realize you still don't care. It's just, I don't know, man. This one was just... It wasn't as long as a previous, I don't think, but it just starts with like these ostriches just kind of dancing around to ballet, and then these hippos come in and they do the same thing, then these elephants come in and they do the same thing. And it's like really bizarre, like then the elephants just kind of like fly off into the stratosphere with no explanation, and we're just supposed to accept that just happened. And then these crocodiles come in, and they're like, I don't know what they're trying to do. This movie is very, again, trying to keep things PG. Like, I don't know, the animators were feeling a certain way while making this, I guess I can say. It's really weird considering this is supposed to be like a family film, I think. But then at the time, like, animation was seen as more of a medium than a genre, which I absolutely agree with. So it wasn't necessarily aimed specifically towards kids or towards family audiences, but it's like, who is this for then? I don't know. Yeah, the crocodiles come in and they like start like pursuing some of the other animals. The hippos, I think. Maybe it was the elephants. I don't know. It was... This section, it was losing me. And then that just kind of like the whole freaking building they're in just kind of like collapses under the weight of all that. I don't know. Like these shorts, they're just like, they're so stretched out, but then like a million things happens at once in like 5 seconds and then it's just over. Like, I don't even know how to properly describe this. We finally end with the last short on another pretty iconic one, A Night on Bald Mountain. Not as iconic as the Mickey one, but still fairly well known. So in this short, we see this monster who I'm pretty sure is supposed to represent the devil at the top of this mountain, and he calls upon his little demons to come up from the land below and worship him. Now this one's pretty creepy, but it's honestly kind of cool. So yeah, we see these guys just kind of like dancing around. A lot of them are actually sacrificed and thrown into a pit of fire, which is kind of dark. But after a while, there's a light that comes shining down and brings the whole thing to a halt. And we hear the song Ave Maria in the background as we see a procession of people holding lights kind of walking across the land. And then we see like a sunrise, which represents new hope. This part is also a little long for my liking, but I'm willing to let it slide because it is kind of like, it's the very end of the last short, so it's fine being a little bit longer and more dramatic. And then the movie just ends. There's no outro from our favorite little man or the orchestra or anything. Like, no, it's just over. Which, I mean, listen, the movie was already too long in my opinion, so I guess this is for the best, but it is still a little strange. But, you know, I'm happy we're able to end on a bit of a high note with that short. But man, I feel bad, I gotta say it. This movie makes Gulliver's Travels feel like a YouTube short. Again, I feel bad. I wanted to like this movie. I wanted to like this movie at least more than I did a few years ago, but it's just not my thing, man. The best parts for me were the parts that were more narration heavy, and those were few and far between. It was just stuff happening. Like, I understand what they were going for. And granted, this was probably a very cool, new, and interesting experience to have at the time it came out in theaters. Again, when animation is relatively new playing in theaters, but it just, that's the thing, it just doesn't hold up, unfortunately. I can understand being nostalgic for it. I can understand having a soft spot for this movie because you grew up with it or something, but it's just like, for someone that did not have an experience like that, I don't have any connection to it, and it's very difficult for me to justify recommending to anyone. I mean, like, these shorts, they're not short. Like, if anything, these things should be called longs. Like, man, this movie is so boring that if you played it for me while we were on, like, the Tower of Terror, I will fall asleep before we hit the ground. Again, obviously, this is all my opinion. Maybe this has more of an artistic value that I'm not appreciating, but I didn't appreciate it, and I didn't have that great a time with this at all, unfortunately. Again, this movie, it's a product of its time, and I really don't think that there's any way that they'd be able to make something like this nowadays. And the funny part is, they actually tried to do that. This movie has a sequel named Fantasia 2000, released in 2000. And I actually have seen that one as well a few years back. But again, I'm not going to tell you my thoughts on it right now. Maybe in like 2,000 years when I eventually get to that movie. So where does this movie rank on the tier list? Man, I don't know. I mean, just seeing that it put Gulliver's Travels in C, and that movie actually had, like, a story, you know, I feel bad. You know, I gotta stop saying that I feel bad. It's just, this is my opinion. I'm gonna put it in D for Disney. Again, just not my cup of tea. Not my piece of pie. That's not a thing. It's not as good as Gulliver's Travels. I can't believe I'm saying that. But it's certainly not F. I mean, we're reserving F for the actual bottom of the barrel garbage. and so again, I can't emphasize this enough, but we'll get there. So yeah, definitely not Disney's best showing so far. But I know there are a lot of much better films coming up, so he'll have a chance to redeem himself very, very soon. So the next movie we're going to be watching is not The Reluctant Dragon. I looked into it, and apparently that movie has some animated segments, but it's mostly live action, so we're going to skip that one. It's going to be Dumbo, which is another very, very iconic classic Disney film. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you then. Take care.